Now in week 3 of the MLR season, Rugby ATL returns home to Lupo Family Field as one of 3 undefeated teams remaining in the league. 2019 playoff side RUNY enters looking to spoil the early riches. I'm Chris McCovic alongside me. Ross Davenport, Maria Martin will join us shortly. 4 matches in the books so far here in week 3 of Major League Rugby, and Toronto a 39-17 victory over Seattle late last night. A clear lead at this point as we enter day 2 of week 3 of the MLR. For RUNY at the bottom of the Eastern Conference for now, Ross, but Troy Lockyer came on like fire last week in his first appearance for the Roosters.
Yeah, what a pro debut for the former Cal Bear. Lockyer missed the opening game of the season with a slight shoulder problem, but came into the lineup thanks to the suspension of Will Leonard and scored 2 tries against the Gilgronis. He should have made it a hat-trick, but was stopped just short.
Yeah, Lockyer and the offense of RUNY putting up 49 points on the Gilgronis, and now looking to put that same offense out here against a Rugby ATL defense that has been really strong in the first 2 weeks. First off against Utah in the season open.
Yeah, found themselves down quite a bit this game against Utah, but came back for a nice second half win. Marner Redlinghuis here with the late try to seal it. Scott Lawrence was very impressed with his team's performance.
I think they're starting to find their identity a little bit in the second half. They really sped up the game. They played physical on defense. Everything that could go wrong went wrong in the first half for us, and they just really started to show what we're capable of. I thought they showed a lot of maturity for being under pressure and really bouncing back and keeping a real blue head.
And in week 2, it was Rugby ATL really putting everyone notice against a NOLA offense that so many were impressed with in week 1, and they're hoping defense and stamina really wins championships.
Yeah, listen, NOLA came into this season as one of the favorites to win the Eastern Conference, and this was going to be a real test for Rugby ATL, and defensively they really showed up, made an amazing amount of tackles, and came through in the end with a victory.
The Rugby ATL, they were able to stop NOLA last week. They'll be looking to do the same here today against another RUNY offense, and it was these late chances that were stopped by Rugby ATL made things happen, and really a beauty here, Ross.
This one put it away, a lovely steal from Ryan Nell off Robbie Coleman, and Van Voot finishing in the corner.
A beautiful look there for the Rugby ATL offense. Only 6 tries, but their kicking game, we'll get into that a bit more in a few moments, has been the key so far to their success. We'll be right back with more coverage, RUNY and Rugby ATL, coming up next here on Sunday in the MLR.
Welcome back to Major League Rugby. Rugby ATL is off to a dominant start to the season. 2 straight wins, hoping for 3 straight if they get a win over RUNY this afternoon. And one of the reasons that they've had so much success, Kirk Coleman. They were really excited about picking him up because of his experience. So far, he's 5 of 6 on penalty conversions so far this season. He also had 4 of those in their 22-10 win at NOLA last weekend. We'll continue to keep an eye out on him, and also some different roster changes today. You'll see a front row that looks a little bit different for Rugby ATL and some new faces making their Major League Rugby debuts. When I asked head coach Scott Lawrence about what's with all the shakeups so early on, he said simply, it's a 16-game season. Potentially longer if you're in the playoffs, so guys need mandatory rest. As for their opponent, RUNY, they have international star power. Head coach Scott Lawrence told me that it'll be a great test for his team today, and they've already faced some adversity here back in week 1, if you remember. They had to come back from being behind, so it should be a good test and a very physical match today against RUNY. Guys.
Thanks, Maria. And looking at the RUNY lineup, their front row returning for Rugby ATL, though, Ross, as we kick off, 8 changes for Scott Lawrence's side.
Yep, 3 in the back row alone with Dam, Higgins, and Fukufoka, the recent signing coming in. It's going to be interesting to see how this rotation system works as the season goes on for Scott Lawrence.
Early position down the field, and we talked about it. Rugby ATL so far, their advantage, stamina, getting some offense going in the second half. And of course, the story of the defense in the first half. So far in these games this season, some nerves against Utah in the first half, but a different squad we saw out there against NOLA in terms of momentum and confidence out on the Shrine on Airline.
Yeah, we've already seen there Atlanta using this territory battle. They're tied for first in the MLR with 56.5% possession in the other team's half, and Kirk Coleman's going to continue to put that ball deep. Rugby Atlanta wants to play the ball in the other team's 50 meters.
So the 2, Alex Mon, one of just a few players starting both games for Rugby ATL. Advantage there for the knock on. As a new number 7 out there for Rugby ATL, Matt Heaton, not part of the 15. It's Harry Higgins at 7 today.
Yeah, Jamie Nutbrown there with the signal. Dangerous tackle from RUNY in the stripes, or the hoops, I should say. So Kirk Coleman looked to put this one deep. Perhaps get a nice 5-meter line-out chance early here for Rugby ATL.
Dangerous tackle, what is that for the new faces here in rugby?
I think it differs from referee to referee. For me, it's the point of the shoulder. Anything above there, the old seatbelt tackle with the arm over the shoulder, anything obviously around the head of the neck is going to be penalized. The last few years, World Rugby's really been cracking down with tougher suspensions, and tougher cards, which is as well for the higher tackles.
Alex Mon again in the 2 for this line out. Coleman in the kicking game. So far, so good this season. 2 minutes in against RUNY. That falls through. And already a turnover in the early going for Rugby ATL on their home field, and RUNY will try to utilize that, get some space back.
Yeah, Rugby ATL struggled a little bit with the lineouts in that first game against Utah. They also struggled with kick receptions. We'll see how they do with those today. But timing, lineouts are all about timing. The throw was just a little off there from Moore.
New starting face in Gleason taking that on, the Irishman, a sub on against NOLA. ATL Coleman, good stop there on the hesitation. Here's Austin White on the near side, getting his first appearance of the season. He's at the left wing today.
Yep, 3 changes in the backs for Atlanta today, with White, Coughlin, and Xander Van Skalkveit. This is his brother there, number 9 with the ball now, Duncan.
The brother running Eagles getting the opportunity today. Their first time on the field together in MLR regular season competition.
Yep, Life picked up a nice win here yesterday over Lindenwood.
Sean Coughlin with the offload there, muscling forward in his first appearance. Now Gleason again. Coleman, now to Nell, the captain. Play will pause there as he was met by the double team.
I was going to say, the RUNY backs have been coming up very quickly here in these first 3.5 minutes. And referee Nutbrown's going to want to establish that offside line early. Nutbrown, a former Super Rugby scrum half for the Crusaders and the Chiefs, also refereed at the Super Rugby level.
Coleman once again nearly the same spot as last time, looking for some position. As Maria mentioned, He's been key at the penalty goal category, 5 of 6. Conversions not so well at 1 of 3, but you have to take into account the position of those try scorers.
Yeah, listen, Kurt Coleman was brought into this team to provide experience and calmness at that 10 spot. A lot of foreign 10s in this MLR league. As he helps out with Duncan Van Skolkvijk, who played 10 himself in college a lot. He has played 9, but not at this level. So it's good to have a nice experienced 10 there to help you out.
Only 6 tries so far this season for Rugby ATL. 3 among the starting 15 today, as that you see another mishap on the line out early on for Rugby ATL.
I was about to say a much better second line out from ATL, but results in the knock on. Again, no Mono Redlinghuis, who was jumping a little bit in the line out in the first game. We haven't seen him since that Utah victory. Not sure if it's a health issue on his situation. Now, first scrum for New York, as Chris, as you mentioned, this front row that powered RUNY to that semi-final spot last season, Rockford, Fawcett, the try machine, and Paddy Ryan back in there. We'll see how Atlanta does here with Cronin Gleason making his first start at tight head.
So far, RUNY defense has been the issue. As we mentioned, 49 points last week in their win over Austin. They did give up 31. They gave up 34 to the loss to the Free Jacks in the first week. Rugby ATL on the other side, 29 points total allowed so far. It's the best in the MLR.
Yeah, listen, Scott Lawrence is known for his defense. It is a matchup today in the 2018 Americans Rugby Championship coaching staff. Scott Lawrence coached the defense when USA won that title, while Greg McWilliams coached the attack. So they're very familiar with each other, these two. And we have a penalty here. And a good first scrum by RUNY, just as we thought might happen.
There was called an illegal scrum on the play, and there's Higgins, who was at the back end there trying to get the ball. And RUNY certainly will use this opportunity to get some good field position on here in Marietta, Georgia.
So Ben Foden kicking to touch there, the experienced Englishman, 34 caps for England, who picked up a nice victory today over Ireland. Let's take another look at that scrum. Yeah, we saw the knee down there by Wengluski on the loose head side, and that resulted in the shove coming around that way. That was too easy. Got to keep your footing.
And here's Bastereau with his first touch of the day, and I was just going to mention, he's at the back of that scrum as well, pushing in there, and he's a very versatile player for his size.
Yeah, most people focus with the scrum on the front row, but the second rows and that 8-man are just as important when it comes to that shove. And Bastereau's got plenty of weight there at the 8-man spot.
Ball kicked ahead, scooped up by Coughlin. Muscling forward, and it's back with Rugby ATL.
Yeah, most people are familiar with Bastereau as his center days with the French national team. And obviously, some teams like Toulon and Stade Française, and I say a million caps for them, but he did play 8 towards the end of his career with Lyon. And so that's where he's going to find his home here with RUNY.
The Irishman, O'Keefe, takes it in, breaks free of the tackle, and now finally brought down by Dam. Bastereau, his offload goes out of play. Lockyer not able to get his first touch.
Yeah, Bastereau wore that 13 shirt. It may have been a different size 13 shirt in that first game, but sloppy pass there from the Frenchman behind Lockyer. Lockyer, big stride if you watch the highlights from last week. Some great running lines from Lockyer, the former Eton College and Wasps Academy guy. Came over, made an impact at Cal. Looking to make an impact here. He certainly did last week.
Coleman on the one hop, kicks it up ahead. Open opportunity, Ryan Nell, the captain. Can't get to it, but he helps his side get an opening. And it's Wengluski that takes it on.
Yep, lovely chip there by Coleman again. Him and Ryan Nell played together at Western Province. Very familiar partnership there at 10 and 12. This is their third straight game together here for Rugby ATL. One of the few places they haven't made changes.
Higgins, the former Arkansas State man, moves it ahead. Now Coleman. Back to Nell once more. And again, Rugby ATL moving deep into RUNY territory, but turning the ball over.
Yeah, not releasing there. You saw the RUNY props screaming at the referee, not Brown, for the not release, and he got the call. And Foden will kick this one down to touch. Obviously, when you go into a tackle, you must release the ball. Defense is there in the poaching position. They can steal it. And as Foden misses touch, simple mistake there by the veteran.
RUNY, another side that has utilized their kicking game so far early on in the MLR season. They have not had a penalty goal to this point, but Marsh, the number 10, the fly half, 7 for 7 from conversions. That's been one trouble spot so far for Rugby ATL. Another kick downfield.
Yeah, Carl Marsh out of the Leinster program. So good amount of time for their senior squad, so he's been around one of the highest levels of the game. Maybe a key component for this RUNY team again this season. He actually played for Coach Greg McWilliams during his college days at St. Michael's.
He led RUNY in points. Last year, he was 8th overall in the league. As they get a line out here.
And he can score tries too. We saw that try last week. He strolled straight through a gap in the Gilgroni's defense. Nice maul here.
Maul broke apart initially, but they got going again. Walsh takes it in. Nearly losing it there. We'll stay with RUNY on the offside. Quick restart.
Yeah, Connor Keys never got back on side there. A few too many penalties here again for Atlanta. We saw this against Utah a couple of weeks ago. Discipline wasn't there early. Obviously, Scott Lawrence got him going at halftime, but a little concerning here at home again.
Bastereau immediately brought down, 3 big bodies around him.
I was going to say, sometimes it takes 3 men to bring that big body down. There's a little body squirming through. We're going to have a penalty going the other way here. I think we're going to have obstruction. So unlike football, you can't be running in front of the player with the ball in rugby. And that was the instant there.
I'll take a look at the Rugby ATL lineup for today's action. We mentioned it, Ross, 8 changes overall.
Yep, big changes in the back row. New 6, 7, 8. Those are the workhorses around the breakdown and in the tackle. So we see what Scott Lawrence wants to do here. He wants to rotate guys, but also some changes on the wing with Austin White and Xander Van Skolkwijk coming in for the Harleys. It's an interesting one there. But wanted to get a look at everybody here early.
Some key players as well in the lock category, along with the flankers out there, and the number 8 on the bench. Momsen, we surely will see later on today's action, and Deacon as well. Harley Wheeler wearing the number 23 today, and he will be an excellent addition in the wing category, or the centers even, when we move into the second half.
And one thing that does, as you said, Chris, brings the finishes into it in the second half, and Atlanta are going to be stacked on the finishing side of things with the likes of Momsen, who's been very impressive carrying the ball in his first 2 games.
Van Skolkwijk moves it on over to Mon, former NOLA Gold player. Now Keys, one of the few players still in here, has made an appearance now in all 3 matches of the season. Coleman. Austin White's after it. That goes out of play.
Lovely kick there from Coleman. You saw Foden come over. He thought about picking it up, but any of you that have played rugby knows exactly how that ball can bounce. Foden didn't want to potentially give away the scrum. He'd much rather have his own team's line out.
The lineouts, though, not in the favor, really, of Rugby ATL so far. They've struggled on them. We'll see if they can win one back here.
We see RUNY going short inside their own 22.
Bastereau, upended immediately by Mon.
Great work there by Alex Mon, getting super low on Bastereau and taking his legs out from underneath him. Great tackle by the hooker.
Goes out on the near side for the line out. Good crowd filling in here. It's a Lupo family field. It's another cool day, just a 1-degree difference from that Utah match 2 weeks ago. So cloudy skies, but rain should be coming in tomorrow.
It's also probably another thing Scott Lawrence is taking into consideration, how hot it might get in Atlanta and humid at the end of the season. Keep these bodies nice and fresh. He's got a 35-man squad to work with.
Fuka takes it ahead. His first match for Rugby ATL on the outside now. Van Voot takes it in. Now Coleman. Nell. Cutting on through, off the Gleason. Now Coleman.
Always fun seeing a prop with the out of the back of the hand offload.
Van Voot. Mangluski seeing the tackle coming and say, hey, Maughan, you take it for me. Kick ahead down the side. Scooped up. What a look for Rugby ATL. They're in. On the board goes Xander van Skorkvijk. And it's 5-0 here, 13 minutes in.
Well, if you watched England-Ireland earlier today, both of England's first 2 tries came from balls almost exactly like that. They actually bounced in the in-goal, though. You just never know how this rugby ball is going to bounce. Kurt Coleman has obviously seen something with this RUNY defense. This was about, I think, about the 3rd little chip kick he's had so far in this game. And just Ben Foden with a misjudge on the bounce, and Xander van Skorkvijk says, thank you very much, I'll take that one.
The hustle at the end there, not enough for RUNY. Kicking has been the game of Rugby ATL, and there it is early on. Xander van Skorkvijk on his college field, scoring and putting his side up 5-0. We'll see if they can add a bit more here. Coleman with the conversion.
See, the winger always has the benefit there because he's running onto that ball while Foden's scampering across the field, having to cover ground. When you're running onto that ball, you can give yourself a little more time to figure out the bounce of that ball, and that's exactly what Xander van Skorkvijk did there. Put Rugby Atlanta up.
Coleman, 17 points on the season, 1 of 3 on conversions. Up, and that is good. 7-0, 2 points on the conversion for Rugby ATL. Now, about to be 15 minutes in, an early start, something they needed. We talked about how slow they were really out of the gates against Utah.
Yeah, we're seeing Kurt Coleman playing a little deeper perhaps than he did in the first 2 games, looking to get the ball wider. Doesn't have either Harley on the wing, but still plenty of experience out there with Van Skorkvijk and Austin White, both obviously live teammates. Lots of live wingers on this team, on this Rugby Atlanta team.
We start again with Rugby ATL. Fuka takes it, and then they'll move it around now for the kick downfield. A few life faces as well on the other side for RUNY. Fawcett, the captains. Is that life for 3 years? RUNY moving the troops ahead.
There's not many hookers you see leading any league in tries. That's exactly what Dylan did last year with 13.
Takedown there by the captain of Rugby ATL, Nell. You see there Walsh, the number 9 for RUNY. He was a life captain in 2016 during their national title campaign.
Yeah, Fuka had his hands on that ball, but it was a teammate that was stopping RUNY getting that quick ball back there. First thing that must happen in a tackle is the tackler must roll away. It didn't happen in that situation. We saw Atlanta slow down the ball quite effectively in those first 2 games, but referee Nut Brown's clearly not going to let them get away with too much of that here today.
Foden, the longtime Northampton player in the Premiership, sending it out once again. It's a line out for RUNY here, 16.5 minutes in.
Here's somebody on the coach on the sideline screaming to stay patient. That's exactly what you have to do with them all. Can't get it going one way, try the other way, and RUNY have got this one going nicely towards the Atlanta try line. Walsh coordinating things from the back.
Latina now offloading to the 15. Foden breaking free. Coleman on the run trying to stop him. He dives. And he is in for the try for RUNY. A number of Rugby ATL players, but they could not stop the quick legs of Foden.
Listen, Ben Foden might be 34 years old, but he knows how to hit a gap, especially inside an opponent's 22, and that was too easy there for the veteran.
His first try of the season. Another look here. The Maul helping open things up on the wing.
Yeah, you see Kyle Marsh coming in on behind the center there, and that almost untouched for Foden. I think Coleman got one hand on him as he went in.
And Foden there breaking through the gap. Coleman almost got there to his credit, but it is RUNY tying things up here, pending this conversion.
Yeah, it was just a slight little dummy if you watch that back again. Slight little dummy from Foden that got Van Voot and White going out wide. And that opened up the gap.
Marsh. That's his first missed conversion of the season, now 7 of 8. And it does give Rugby ATL a brief 2-point lead, now nearly 19 minutes in. Just like that, within 5 minutes, both teams responding to each other. First try of the season as well for Foden. He had one last year in his 16 appearances for RUNY. Now, time for the hydration break. Good time after those 2 tries. We'll head over to Maria.
By Nestle keeps the Rugby ATL team hydrated all day long. They also help keep players cool whilst in the sin bin. All Rugby ATL fans can use the promo code in the Game Day magazine and follow the 3 easy steps to get crisp, refreshing water for your home. Head to readyrefresh.com right now. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Maria. And the sin bin, one area Rugby ATL, despite their penalties here and there, have not really had to deal with so far. They had the benefit of it against NOLA last week.
No, for sure. They're looking a little indisciplined here at the breakdown early, though, not to behave themselves.
Of course, coming up next Sunday, we'll be back with you for what may have not been a one circuit on the calendar to start the season, but it's the showdown for the Eastern Conference lead, potentially, if Rugby ATL gets the win here today. It's Toronto against Rugby ATL here from Marietta, Georgia. We'll be back with you at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Man, Toronto have looked mighty impressive in these first 3 games. They had a real test yesterday on the road against Seattle, but passed that one in flying colors and leaves the Seawolves, the defending champions, at 0-3. Yeah, we can have 2 3-0 teams perhaps here next week.
And
excellent.
Looking at the result last night, I'm not sure if it's the Seawolves' problem or Toronto looking really good, but 39-17 in Seattle, a win for Toronto last night.
I would say it's probably 70-30 the way Toronto are playing, and 30 Seattle just struggling a little bit. They got off to a late start to their preseason. It was purposefully done to kind of keep them fresh as the season went on, but it's led to this 0-3 start.
The 2-time defending champions down to 0-3 to start the season, looking to regroup. A team that RUNY will see coming up on March 14th. They'll host Seattle on a noon start. Coming up next week there at Houston, an 8 p.m. Eastern time start. Getting things going again, possession back and forth. 20 minutes in, 7-5 Rugby ATL. And if you're just joining us, both of these tries coming within the last 6 minutes of action. Bastereau moving down the field. Big hit there. Mon once again on the Frenchman.
Another big hit by Mon, targeting Bastereau, but it appears we had some kickers in front of the ball on the kick from Coleman. Once again, if you're in front of the ball, you're offside until someone puts you offside on the kick, so you can't advance until someone puts you onside, whether it was somebody behind you when the ball was kicked or the kicker. Didn't quite get a good look at the situation there, but sloppy stuff there from the boys in white.
Mon, his second big hit on Bastereau, and that's what you really need against the big Frenchman. And we saw him score his try recently. He went through nearly 4 tackles to get there.
Now he's playing scrum half at the line out.
Another maul here for RUNY. Walsh gets us going again. Matina. Now Paddy Ryan, native of Chicago and Cork City as well in Ireland.
Is it Duncan Van Skolkvijk down perhaps after a tackle on a prop?
Move to the left wing now, as the player is tended to. Walsh, now Marsh, slings it over to Lockyer, trying to turn the corner, offloads, scooped on up by O'Keefe, still in play, and RUNY stuck in a tough spot there, and play will pause.
Yeah, we're going to take a look. In rugby, if there's an injury, if it's anything but a head injury, play will continue. I think that may have been a head injury, though. We're taking a look at Duncan Van Skolkvijk. Now, you saw Troy Lockyer there, a little bit of magic. He is actually, I would say, a professional magician. If you give him a quick search on YouTube, he's got plenty of serious street magic out there. And that was a bit of magic out the back of his hand. Sonny Bill Williams, one of his favorite players, and Troy Lockyer, if you continues to play at this level. He might not get to Sonny Bill Williams' level, but he's certainly making an impression here earlier in his pro career. Looks like Duncan Van Schalkwijk is okay. You never want to see a 9 taking on a prop one-on-one like that. They didn't have much of a run-up. I think it was just perhaps a bit of an awkward tackle from Van Schalkwijk.
And right there, we kind of saw a microcosm of the speed we're talking about. That quick turn on the edge. Luckily for Rugby ATL, they got the stop, but that's what he was able to do against Austin last week. Break open some of those lanes, and for a center out there, he is really quick compared to some of these wings we see in the league. He's
very tall. He has a very long stride. He also has those quick feet. He runs great lines. If you watch the highlights again of that Gilgroni's game last week, a couple of the 2 tries he scored, there's amazing running lines, and that was easy for Cathal Marsh to find it. It's one thing that Rugby ATL is going to have to be very careful of. There's Troy Luck here finding gaps.
Not only does he have 2 tries entering today, he has 2 try assists. Scrum in favor of RUNY as we get things going after the injury on Schalkwijk. As you can see, stayed on out there after his treatment. Lockyer trying that misdirection we saw from last week.
Yeah, good combo tackle there with Coleman and his backline teammate. I think it was Austin White.
Now Marsh offloads over to Matina. Open look, but big tackle coming in from behind. Walsh and RUNY trying to get things going again, inching ahead. Knocked away. It'll stay with RUNY though, as Higgins tried to go the other way.
Hands in the rug.
Yep, squirted out the side. Referee Nut Brown saying that hands went in. He was on the wrong side of the rug when he got help from his AR potentially, but RUNY looking very dangerous here in these last 10 minutes.
They are right on the doorstep now. Following that Atlanta try in the 14th. They're really owning possession in the Atlanta half.
You know exactly what's coming here. Bring it down and maul it. Even if you know what's coming, it's very difficult to stop the old 5-meter maul. Atlanta have had a little bit of trouble with it so far this season. Let's see how they do here.
Strong push from Atlanta early on.
Bastareaud running the show here at the back.
Fuka with the stop, but RUNY still charging ahead. Diving in, is he in?
It was just held up there. You can see it laying on a body.
Muscling once more towards the try line, still not in.
That's a try.
And there's the try sneaking in. The defensive effort of Rugby ATL, not enough there, and RUNY 2 straight tries in the Atlanta half.
We saw Bastareaud lurking back there waiting for it, but he didn't get to him. James Denise, 34-year-old longtime Nyack player, with the try. Give Rugby United the lead.
His first of the season for the 34-year-old. He had 7 last year. And suddenly RUNY with the lead on the road, 24 minutes in. Another look, Ross.
Yep, some good defense on the fringes, but he got low there, did Denise. Got underneath Jason Dam, who was just a little high on the fringes, and that was enough. His height there, Denise got underneath him for the try.
And RUNY, remember entering the day, they were at the bottom of the Eastern Conference, a conference that all teams are above 5 or more points early on in the season. And with the placement of that try, pretty easy conversion. Up and in it goes, and a 5-point advantage for RUNY over ATL.
This Rugby ATL defense just doesn't look quite as gelled as it did in these first 2 games. Obviously the changes maybe having an impact on that. A lot of defense is about communication. You can practice it as much as you like, but throw it out there in a real-time game situation, things can certainly change. Scott Lawrence, plenty of time to figure this out though.
Well, that's one thing. It's something to really keep an eye on rotations here in week 3, and really keeping that in mind, as the 2 squads look very similar in the Utah game and the NOLA game. And today, 8 changes to the starting 15. We'll see some more familiar faces come in off the bench in the second half, but for now, we'll see if they can tap into the strong defense we've seen from them as we approach the final 15 minutes of this first half.
I know coaches sometimes break down seasons into things like quarters and thirds, and perhaps Scott Lawrence looked at these first 4 games and said, well, if we finish 2-2, I'd be happy with that. Got off to a 2-0 start, and perhaps he said, well, now I can look at some other players, keep some guys fresh, especially with that big Toronto game coming up next week. It's one of the hottest team in the league.
Higgins turns the corner. On Skalkvik. Coleman, Coughlin, in a mess there. He'll hand it off.
It was a risky 50-50 ball there by Coughlin. I don't know how he got that one away without dropping it one-handed.
Vaughn kept the possession alive. Now Coleman. Nell can't get through. Gleason all over the ball in this first half.
Yeah, but when isolated, he needed some help. Luckily, he got it from Maughan. Otherwise, that would have been a turnover ball.
What a push from Wengluski. And Coleman, we're stuck a bit there in the same area. He'll kick it over the top. And O'Keefe will take it on.
Yeah, O'Keefe with the mark there. Similar to a fair catch in football. If you catch the ball cleanly inside your own 22, you can yell a mark and you will get a free kick, which you can kick the touch like that, you will get the gain in ground, but the ball will go to the opposition.
Rugby ATL getting set for the line-out. Exceptional care for an active life. Find your nearest barber clinic by going online to www.barberortho.com. They are available in 5 convenient locations across Georgia. Rugby ATL is so grateful for the help that Barber provides. Barber Orthopedics, the official medical provider of Rugby ATL. Coughlin can't get too far there after getting the offload. Now Coleman taking some hits.
I'm saying RUNY's defense looking a lot like Rugby Atlanta's defense last week, stopping them from getting over that gain line by very much. And there's a turnover now.
Lockyer.
Oh.
That'll be a knock-on, it seems, and over to Rugby ATL. The big hit forcing quote-unquote fumble.
Yeah, nice smack there by Xander van Skalkvik on Ben Foden. Just caught him a little upright. Take another look at it. A bit of a mess here out of the breakdown, and had nowhere to go, did Foden, and Van Skalkvik with a nice tackle to force the knock-on. We talked about the scrum earlier in the front row back together. RUNY's been having some trouble in the second row, some injuries, and a bunch of guys still potentially waiting on their visas coming over from Ireland. Evan Minturn, Cormac Daly, some other players as well. Cara Pryor, back row, former Maori All Black, also waiting on a visa. So RUNY is playing a little short-handed here in this third game.
Van Skalkvik.
That's why Charlie Hewitt was brought in by RUNY yesterday to provide some support there at second row.
The amazing team live by the following rules: perform, move, function, recover, better, faster, longer, stronger. Request an appointment now at revolutionchiropractic.net. Rugby ATL is so grateful for the relief that Revolution provides. Official chiropractic provider of Rugby ATL.
Another signing on Friday, big signing actually for RUNY, was Honko Hermesais, the USA Eagles flanker, coming over from Colorado. I'm sure we'll see him here in the second half off the bench. He's quite a specimen, quite an athletic specimen.
Over all the way to White. He takes it in, but this will come back.
Perhaps a forward pass from Coleman. See what signal the referee gave. Either way, it's a scrum to RUNY.
It looked like that a bit in this confirmation. It was a forward pass.
Yeah, Coleman was looking short, didn't like what he saw, and went out to go wide to White. Bouncing ball is nicely picked up at forward, as we see Marcus Walsh there, former life captain, 2016 national champions. Bunch of the players from that team on this field, on this Atlanta squad, I should say. Not all of them are playing today.
Walsh and the troops set. 12-7 lead for RUNY. With 31 minutes in, 9 remaining before the half. Already the scrum collapsing.
Yeah, Chance Wangluski's got to be careful here. He already got called once for bringing the scrum down. As you can hear somebody on the sideline agreeing with me that's why referee Nutbrown's going to come over to the side to see what's going on here. Wangluski losing the battle at the moment with the experienced Paddy Ryan, both of them obviously USA Eagles. Paddy Ryan applied his trade with Munster early and then went up to play for Newcastle in the Premiership, so he's played at a very high level.
We'll try this again now. Again, Walsh and RUNY in possession. Again, the collapse, and it'll go in favor of RUNY. Quick restart, Bastereau gets it going.
Atlanta just actually got a break there with just a free kick for the early engage rather than the penalty for collapsing it. And here comes RUNY.
O'Keefe tiptoeing down the sideline. Walsh slings it over. Lockyer kicked up ahead. Wallace Sims going after it, but it's won by Rugby ATL.
Yeah, good work there by Ryan Nell.
Wangluski crawling ahead. And Coleman try to kick this into touch. This doesn't make it far enough. As Foden all the way. Dam meets him with a big tackle.
Yeah, that's a mistake there from Kurt Coleman. He really should be making touch. Can't be letting Ben Foden run at you from that kind of position.
Ooh. Coughlin taking Walsh down to the ground. Wallace Sims. Sumption. Almost breaking free. Duncan van Skorkvijk forcing the mishap. And still Rugby ATL can't get rid of it. And now play will come to a pause.
That was a right mess there. Great work, though, by Sumption. It released the ball, got back up, and ATL just fell asleep a little bit at the breakdown, allowed him to run through. I think we might have had a knock-on. Chance Wangluski's going to take a seat.
A lot of gas players after that group of phases. And they'll get a breather here. 34 minutes in, it's 12-7 RUNY. They have the advantage at this moment. Of course, Rugby ATL trying to get the win today, but a key Eastern Conference matchup coming next Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern time as the Toronto Arrows come to town here in Marietta, Georgia. Wangluski getting tended to now. He's at the prop spot once again today.
Yeah, not the kind of injury you want to see for a loose head prop, that left arm.
He was previously on loan with RUNY, college All-American at Lindenwood, and Lindenwood and Life doing some action recently in their rugby collegiate action.
Yep, Life with a nice 29-22 win yesterday here in Marietta, making up for that loss, big upset loss to Arkansas State last Saturday.
Despite the changes we saw in the starting 15, the front row on the bench still the same for Rugby ATL, Gouda, Ferrante, and Montez. We'll have another scrum as we get things going. Under 6 minutes remaining with the clock paused.
Yeah, two good internationally experienced front rows in this matchup. Wangluski, Maughan, Fawcett, and Ryan with all with USA Eagles caps. Not as many on the bench for both teams, though.
Rugby ATL in control.
Be interesting to see whose front row can go the longest, because both of these front rows on the bench are not anywhere near as strong as these starting threes.
RUNY with a strong push, but Fuka gets it, the number 8 spot. And Coleman does send this into touch this time around.
Yeah, nice clearance there by Coleman, making amends for that mistake just a couple of minutes ago. 5 minutes to go here in this first half. It's been a tight one. ATL had the early edge. RUNY came right back into it. The last 15 minutes or so have been pretty even.
Line out in favor of RUNY.
A little practice throw for RUNY as Jamie Nutbrown wants a wider gap.
How wide as a referee is that gap, ideally?
You want to see it at least a yard, or I should say a meter in rugby. We talk meters in rugby.
Bastereau.
It's a very athletic pirouette by Mr. Bastereau there. Still got it.
Another offload taken down as RUNY sets up the attack on the back end. Fuka, the number 8 for Rugby ATL, is down on one knee. Keep an eye on that as play continues with RUNY. Kicked ahead, and it's a chase after the ball. It does go out of play, though.
Dylan Fawcett with the chip and chase. The man can do everything. Scrum, score tries, chip ahead. Yeah, Fuka down here now. Do have Ross Deacon available on the bench, but looks like the Tongan under 20 will be okay. Former Southland Stag, alongside Rory Van Voot there in New Zealand.
His second stint in the United States was part of Pro Rugby and the San Francisco Rush several years ago.
It's a bit of a shock signing. Ross Deacon appeared to have the number 8 spot sort of locked down, but obviously Scott Lawrence wants that extra depth. We've got a bit of a miss. I'm not sure what Coleman is doing here. Not exactly where he wants to get caught. This could be a turnover and an easy 3 points.
Walsh. Wallace Sims.
I should have said a turnover or an easy 3 points. Turned into the turnover. Not the best from Kurt Coleman there.
Bastereau. Now they'll try the right wing. Lockyer couldn't find room. Coleman's right there.
Done it a couple of times today. Kurt Coleman made up for his mistakes, and that was a big time tackle on Lockyer. And again with this hooker.
Fawcett, kick over the top. O'Keefe! He's in, and RUNY, their third try of the first half, comes just before halftime. And they're rolling since that early Rugby ATL try.
Listen, Dylan Fawcett made a name for himself last season, scoring 13 tries from the hooker spot. Now he's chipping and chasing for his wingers, and what a play by number 2.
His second try of this early season. Now look, the hooker with the kick over the top.
Yeah, Austin White got caught a little flat-footed. Van Voot over to try and help. But once again, the second try we've seen today from an awkward bounce. I'm sure some of these players are watching that England-Ireland game this morning. You never know which way this oval-shaped egg is going to go. That time right into the hands of Mark O'Keefe.
Mark O'Keefe with the try, and I'm sure it will be a try assist there for Fawcett, the captain of RUNY. Conversion pending as well, as it will be Marsh.
That's a big kick here for Cathal Marshall. Put him up 2 converted tries. Actually, sorry, 2 tries, I should say, instead of a try and a converted try and a penalty. And right down the middle from the Irishman.
2 more points on the board, and that now bringing his total to 8 for 9 on the season.
1 minute, fellas.
Just that one miss early on today. So, Ross, any strategy here? Rugby ATL, just a few seconds really before halftime, go after it or regroup in the second half like they have been doing.
We'll see what RUNY does here. They might just run it. A couple of short side carries from forwards, although you never know what this man's going to do. He might just go 70 meters for a try.
I mean, Fawcett has been all over the place. It's the try assist on that last one.
Yeah, RUNY's just going to try and take this one to the half without making any mistakes inside their own half. Yeah, Rugby ATL, I've got some work to do at the half. The defense hasn't looked quite as good, especially out wide in that 12-13 slot. But 40 minutes to get it right.
And that will be halftime here from Lupo Family Field. The offense of RUNY coming out. O'Keefe right there just scoring, and 3 tries. The response to ATL's one early on. It's 19-7 RUNY at the break. We'll see if Rugby ATL can regroup and come back out with a great second half campaign. Halftime coming up next here from Marietta, Georgia, as RUNY's on top in this Eastern Conference battle.
Atlanta, how are we? Maybe you can do better than that. ATL, ATL, ATL. Okay, we gotta work on that. That's okay. I'd like to introduce everybody today to a very brand new friend of mine. His name's Abe. Come on over, Abe. Abe is the producer of 92.9 Radio, The Game. And Abe was declaring
Okay, 3.
that he was one of Rugby ATL's biggest fans, and he should get a black jersey. Come show us the black jersey, Lee.
Welcome back to halftime here with head coach Scott Lawrence. You're trailing 19-7 at the break. What do you want to see cleaned up from your team?
I think we need to make better decisions from our game drivers, playing the right parts of the field, and when we do have the ball, play with a little more energy and accuracy.
You talk about energy and accuracy. You guys are, for the most part, a quick team when you come out of the break. Do you want to see some more speed when you come back?
I think so, and that comes from really securing your possession and being smart about getting the other team on the back foot.
RUNY's been really good defensively so far. How do you minimize that?
They're contesting the ball really well. They're putting another man into each of the rucks, so we'll be a little bit more accurate, a little tighter, a little more aggressive around that, see if we can speed it up.
Coach, thanks and good luck.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
Camera ready, come on over, Sean. So you've trained with 14.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, coach. And what do you want to be when you grow up? And then we've got over here Gabe. Now Gabe thinks that he's got what it takes to actually be a Rugby ATL player. So we will see if he can take on an actual Rugby ATL player. We've got Matt Heaton here, who's one of our star performing players. He's going to be tackling these guys and trying to stop them from getting over the end goal to retrieve this jersey from Elite.
Welcome back here into Marietta, Georgia. It is 19-7 at the break between Rugby United New York and Rugby ATL. We'll be back with more coverage coming up shortly.
So I want somebody with his chest that is not got any tools out with him today. Was suggesting that he was going to come on field with a taser, and that would give him his house and would make his way from the 20 line to the end goal and be the Rugby ATL player. So you've got no confidence, no
Welcome back as we continue halftime here from Marietta, Georgia. 19-7, Rugby United New York leads Rugby ATL. ATL not looking ahead really of the second half, Ross, but they are getting set for a big battle with the Toronto Arrows, the hottest team right now in the MLR arguably, and in the Eastern Conference. It should be a fun one next week. We'll be back with you on ESPN Plus and WATL.
Yeah, no doubt. Sam Malcolm's foot putting Seattle way ahead of, putting Toronto way ahead of Seattle on Saturday evening, 39-17. Yeah, no, an impressive start to the season by the boys from north of the border.
Yeah, and remember, of course, for all matches, be sure with Pure Taqueria is just as famous for its margaritas as it is for their taco and queso dip. Most importantly, their friendly service. Head to Pure Taqueria Inman Park every away game to have fun with the Rugby ATL crew for the ITP viewing party and their next away match coming against DC on March 8th. We'll be right back with more coverage here from Marietta, Georgia, 19-7 in favor of RUNY. Welcome back here into Marietta, Georgia. 19-7, the away side leads it. Rugby United New York coming out firing with 3 straight tries after the initial one by Rugby ATL. Again, I'm Chris Privick alongside me, Ross Davenport. Maria Martin walking the sidelines for us this afternoon. Kurt Coleman and Rugby ATL, a sharp start, probably from the 5th minute to about the 15th minute, but then RUNY just came out firing, stretching the wings, and getting the opportunities we saw them get against Austin last week.
Yeah, Coach Scott Lawrence at halftime talked about making better decisions, especially coming from his decision makers, the key ones. One of them is right there, Kurt Coleman. He got off to a good start and then had some questionable decisions, especially with the kicking, not passing it particularly quickly at times. Part of that, maybe the RUNY defense stepping up and showing them something different they weren't expecting to see. Did mention, Scott Lawrence also mentioned they were putting an extra body into the counter ruck on the RUNY side of things, which he perhaps wasn't expecting. So some good coaching, as we may have expected from Greg McWilliams. Again, those two very familiar with each other. I'm sure they must have practiced for a good amount against each other over those 6 weeks with the USA Eagles during the 2018 ARCs.
Entering today, Rugby ATL, one of 3 undefeated teams left in the MLR, and they're trying to keep pace with Toronto in the Eastern Conference in the new format, of course, with the 2 conferences. Top 3 teams on either side make the playoffs, so that's really what to pay attention to for this 2020 season. And Toronto, after their additional points, is going to be up to 13. Rugby ATL entering the day with 9, and just ahead of them in the standings is NOLA with 10 total points. RUNY at the bottom of the Eastern Conference with 5. Of course, 4 today, and with 1 more try, Ross, they would get that extra bonus point, and they would make a big leap in the Eastern Conference table.
Yeah, everybody, I think, coming into the season thought perhaps the East would be the weaker side of things with all the new teams, but if you looked at yesterday's results, All Glory knocked off Houston, obviously Toronto beat Seattle, and NOLA defeated Colorado, so undefeated day for the East yesterday. Obviously, we'll certainly have 1 East team here winning.
And it's been a weird weekend as well, because there's 4 matches. Also with that, none of the home teams won those matches. We had 3 road victories and a draw between Utah and Austin. So we'll see if RUNY can keep the theme going into the night when San Diego and New England face off later at 7 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, New England will be heavy underdogs in that one, as you see RUNY's scrum putting the pressure on ATL again. A nice pickup at the back. I think the first one we've seen today from Fukafoka.
He went down injured in the first half. He's back in the action now, of course. And Skulk fight, Coleman. Nell muscling ahead. Gleason met by Bastereau.
Sloppy.
Knock on there by Maughan. Play continues.
Come back. The original knock-on, RUNY had the advantage because of the knock-on by Rugby ATL, but once you commit an infringement, such as a knock-on yourself, it comes back for the original infringement if the advantage was still being played, which it was in that case by referee Nut Brown. He's had a solid game so far this afternoon.
And here's the question as we enter week 3 with Rugby ATL. Is it about the stamina that they're able to go the full 80 with their deep squad, like we've heard so much about, a full 35-player squad that can retool and regroup and refresh? Or is it about the second half adaptations to the opponent, adjusting things here and there at halftime with Scott Lawrence, and coming out and having good results against NOLA and, of course, Utah in week 1?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see when Scott Lawrence does go to the bench. Again, Rugby United not particularly deep in that front 5 thanks to some injuries and visa problems, but wow, we've got Momsen on the bench for ATL as well as Deacon.
O'Keefe down the sideline, tiptoeing. He stays in play. Now RUNY in Atlanta territory. Lockyer is down back towards midfield. Now Wallace Sims. He's brought down by Coughlin.
Almost a good counteract by ATL, but again, these little kicks proving to be a big factor this afternoon. Hopefully Lockyer's okay. Again, he came into the first game with a bit of a shoulder problem and didn't play. Hopefully it's not a reoccurrence of that.
Now Ryan.
Paddy Ryan, not known for his ball carrying skills, but a nice rumble there by the big man.
Ball knocked down, scooped up in the end. O'Keefe, he has 1 try already today. Towards the end of the first half, if you weren't with us. Now Paddy Ryan.
Yeah, O'Keefe's been very impressive today. All the focus was on Lockyer, but O'Keefe's really stepped up.
Bastereau nearly goes down.
Lockyer might still be down behind the plate. Don't see his number 13 out there at the moment. There's Ryan again.
Now Denise, he has a try today.
Now looking for the quick ball. Yep, here's Marsh. Let me go out the back. No, he tries to go in his own like last week. No hold there this time, though.
Wallace Sims trying to spin away, brought down by Xander van Skolkwijk.
Xander with a good poach attempt there. I thought he might get the holding on call. Didn't get it, though. And he's still trying to move their way inside this 22.
Foden moves it out wide. O'Keefe again. RUNY now moving backwards as they try that right wing. Not much progress. Bastereau just let that go on by.
Yeah, good work there by Chris Martina, though. Setting that ruck early, stopping the poach attempt. Finally have a stoppage of play. Some bodies on the ground, perhaps. Referee Nut Brown gonna reward RUNY for going forward. They were going backwards initially when they went to get the ball, but once the ruck formed, they're going forward. And we have another man down this time. Charlie Hewitt, the big 6'7" Englishman, just acquired on Friday, or announced on Friday, I should say.
His third year as an MLR player. He missed 2019 season due to injury. He was with Houston. RUNY, they can afford this. They're up by 12 as we open the second half. Just moving the ball around. Taking some energy out of Rugby ATL as we will see the first switch for Scott Lawrence just about 7 minutes in, and we might see two switches at that as the two starters in the first two matches of the season coming on, Johan Momsen and Ross Deacon, as it will be the end of the day for Fuka. Now we talked about Scott Lawrence talking to us at the break. We'll hear about that from Maria.
Hey guys, I talked to head coach Scott Lawrence at the break, and he told me that one of the big things he wants to focus on is minimizing the penalties and also getting a chance to take over those opportunities. The missed opportunities has really hurt Rugby ATL so far. He said they typically do a little bit more speed in the second half of the game, and that's what he wants his guys to do. Speed up a little bit, kind of wear RUNY out, make them tired. They're a bunch of big physical guys. That's a lot of what the players are talking about on the sideline too as well. They said they want to be patient but also wear them out at the same time. Looks like RUNY could be worn down by a very fast and quick Rugby ATL team, typically that are better in the second half. Head coach Scott Lawrence said that he wants them to pay attention to being better in the second half as they have and coming back.
Thanks, Maria. And both sides now, we're only 7 minutes in, Ross, and they're both making changes. Notable players and starters coming on, Momsen and Deacon for Rugby ATL, but on the other side, RUNY now making a change. Yeah,
it looks like Troy Lockyer was unable to shake off whatever that injury was there. And we mentioned that Scott Lawrence might not wait long to bring on Momsen and Deacon. And here they are, 7 minutes into the second half, looking to make an impact. And Ross Deacon, obviously, former RUNY player. Big part of their 11-5 season last year.
Appeared in their playoff match that they did, fortunately, lose in the semifinals. Wall Sims takes it on. Taken on back, and a quick first touch by Deacon. Now Coleman, he thought about kicking it. He gives it off to Nell, working the left wing. Stays with Rugby ATL. Wenglewski. And Coleman over the top.
Second up and under of this half, as you see Momsen chasing it, as well as Van Skolkwijk. Momsen played second row in the first game of the season, was very impressive. Could obviously play at the flank position as well, it looks like.
Momsen, one of those many South Africans that joined Rugby ATL for their inaugural season.
You said Chris Fukufoka and Higgins take a seat for ATLs. Coleman again with a bit of a mistake there, but gets back before he's under any pressure, and Van Voot clears.
This will stay in play though, and back to RUNY, up by 12. Play a game of catch here across the field, and Coleman will get us going.
Nice better kick there from Coleman, forcing Marsh to turn around. Under some pressure. This one, not sure if this one will make touch. Nope.
Coleman and Von Voot and Austin White winning the possession battle. Get up across halfway point of the field.
Nice try. Now, the scrum half has some extra protection there at the back of the ruck. You got to leave him alone. RUNY player putting a hand in there and knocking it away. Coleman have a chance here to pin RUNY down deep inside their 22. See if we can get this to a one-score game.
Rugby Atlanta scoring back in the 14th. It was Xander on Skolkvik running in. This does go into touch, and it will be a line out in favor of Rugby ATL as Alex Maughan heads on over.
Great kick there by Coleman. Not quite inside the 5, but about as close as you want to get without risking kicking it into the dead ball area. Let's see what Rugby ATL do here with the line out. He's hanging out, perhaps going with 5 or 6, taking their time with it.
There will be another substitution for RUNY, meanwhile, in the pause.
Yeah, Hanko Hermesijs, the USA Eagle flanker, on to cause some chaos, no doubt.
Rugby ATL trying to work the maul.
Went backwards though, and that's the first stoppage. And they have to get this going forward or get it back quickly. That's going to be a penalty for bringing down the maul. And it looks like, let's see if Jamie Nutground has a word. In a yellow card scenario there, coming inside the 5-meter line. It's a professional foul. I'm surprised Jamie Nutground's not having a word. But at least the captain force it.
Going over the top, the call on the play.
Yeah, you can see Nutground now chatting to the front row saying, don't do that again.
We're back where we started. Maughan, long throw, finds Momsen. And find a maul as well.
Stefan Willemsen with it, but we haven't heard much from him today. It's maybe his chance to help drive this one in.
With the crowd behind them, here comes Rugby ATL.
Yep, another penalty advantage.
Coleman thought about it, he'll kick it towards the right flank, it goes out. There's advantage played here.
Yep, he's going to pull the card out. It's exactly what Jamie Nutground said to them. Don't do that again, or somebody's going to go off for 10 minutes, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Somebody will be spending 10 in the ready refresh sin bin, and it will be number 3, Paddy Ryan.
Down by 12, and Rugby ATL, a big advantage here, maybe to get back in this match as Paddy Ryan heads to the ready refresh sin bin.
Similar to that Utah match, I think maybe a little later in the game when Utah went down to 14.
Ready refresh by Nestle Waters keeps the Rugby ATL team hydrated all day long. They also help to keep the players cool while in the sin bin. All Rugby ATL fans can use the promo code in the Game Day magazine and follow the 3 easy steps to get crisp, refreshing water for your home. Head to readyrefresh.com.
Now, because a front row player has gone to the sin bin in the form of Paddy Ryan, in order to have a contested scrum, RUNY will have to bring a front row player off the bench. Will likely be Anthony Parry, you would have to think, perhaps number 17 for the scrum. In order to do that, RUNY will have to go down a player somewhere else. We'll see who they pull off. It'll actually be Kirkland Hamilton. Matthew Bastro is looking for instructions from his sideline about who they're going to bring off in order to bring Hamilton on. It's usually sometimes a flanker, sometimes a blindside winger. We'll see what they end up doing here.
So you see the clock on your screen. It will be full 10 minutes here for Paddy Ryan. So Rugby ATL, if they choose to do so, get momentum here behind the crowd, they can really put some pressure on the scoreline. On Skolkvik and the scrum of Rugby ATL in possession.
RUNY getting a good push on though.
Here comes Rugby ATL, a few meters there. Picked on up, Mopson's in.
We talked about the impact guys. Deacon with the pickup. And there's Mumpson up, the other substitute off the bench with the try. Very similar to that Utah game. When Utah went down to 14 men, Rugby ATL took full advantage. And here they come again here in the second half.
5 points for Rugby ATL on the score line, and a conversion from an ideal spot there. The crowd, some momentum, some cheers here in the second half. Well, that will send them cheering. A 7-point margin now for Rugby ATL.
Get themselves here within a converted try. As you see the fans enjoying that try. Take another look at it here. Deacon with the pickup against his former teammates. Took on 3 guys. Bastereau with a good clear out by the ATL, and Mompson with a similar try to Redling Heist a couple of weeks ago. Obviously a lot closer in, but a quick pick up at the ruck and an easy one for the South African.
His first try of this early season. And the players of Rugby ATL making their head coach look pretty good out there. The 2 subs on, just 7 minutes in to the second half. And they get a try along with Coleman, the conversion. And now just a try margin here, 5 points between Rugby ATL and RUNY. There's a look at Mompson, typically a lock in the starting lineup for Rugby ATL, coming off the bench today.
So Kirkland Hamilton, who came on for that scrum, will have departed. See who, didn't get a good look at who actually went off. Kirkland Hamilton is going to stay on.
And here's Ross when the importance of the ready, refresh Simbin come into play. They scored, and look, the clock's still ticking on Paddy Ryan. He is still off, and Rugby ATL still up a man.
Yeah, it's game time. No, it doesn't include, if the clock stops, the yellow card stops, but as long as that clock's rolling, Paddy Ryan will, his minutes will tick away.
Pradier moving ahead and setting things up for RUNY.
Walsh got away with one there. The referee said it went backwards. Not too sure about it. You see Bastereau putting his hands up. I had the same thought in my head. The ATL backs looked a little offside. Kind of keys to be specific, and now we're going to have penalty advantage anyway for something else.
Around the outside goes the hooker Fawcett.
Come back for the penalty. Let's see if we get to see the second. Yep, they're going to call that offside. It's a bit of a delayed call. Didn't see the advantage initially being called. They're going to say 5. Yep, it was Connor Keys. Just came over that offside line. You must stay behind the last body part of your player in the ruck until that ball is out. Just came across it a little early. Carol Marsh is going to have a go here from fully 45 plus. This will be the first penalty, I think, of the season, correct? If I'm not correct, Christopher?
Exactly. He's been sharp on the conversions, just 1 miss, and that came earlier today.
No, it's not going to be Marsh. It's going to be Bennett, I think. Harry Bennett's on the field. We didn't see that change, but either way, he's going to have himself a hefty kick.
He's 2 for 2 on conversions so far this season.
Carol Marsh wasn't known particularly for his boot from the tee during his time at Leinster. Bennett perhaps coming on to give it a little more flexibility at that spot off the tee here with his tight game. See what he can do here. Not too much of a breeze, I don't think.
3 penalty goals last season. And that one just wide, and RUNY unable to add to their short lead here.
Definitely had the distance, did Harry Bennett. I thought he got a little under it initially. It was a high arc. Had the legs, but just a little to the right. We'll restart here with a 22 dropout from Kurt Coleman.
Not surprisingly.
Oh, Kyle Marsh is on the field. So I'm not sure where Harry Bennett came on. I'm sure we'll get a look at that when we get a set piece.
Nearly stopped there by Rugby ATL. They're back in possession. Van Voot.
Looks like Bennett's gone to fullback.
Coleman again drives it down the field. This won't find its way into touch. And again, it's Van Voot and Coleman. That one does find its way out of play and into touch for Rugby ATL.
This looks like Bennett in there at fullback for Ben Foden, I think.
Excuse me, it will be possession to RUNY as Fawcett comes over. Hewitt brings it down. Bastereau through the challenges. Gleason can't bring him down. Here comes the Frenchman.
It's not the man you want to see coming down a blindside when you know there isn't a whole lot of support over there helping you. Hewitt, who's almost the exact opposite runner of Bastereau, but made himself a yard or two.
Bastereau slow to get up, meanwhile. Stretching out his left leg. Here comes RUNY, though. Matina.
I say Ben Foden is still on the field. I'm not sure where Bennett may be on the wing. We didn't get any news from the sideline regarding that.
Fawcett. Still 3.5 minutes left in the sin bin for Paddy Ryan. Marsh. Latina knocked forward. As Rugby ATL would have picked it up anyway, but it is a knock on for RUNY.
Nice running line there by Harry Bennett, but Momsen was there just waiting to eat him up. Read that from start to finish. And scrum down here for ATL. You see the Paddy Ryan clock ticking. Just under 3 minutes to go for him in this ready refresh sin bin. See, RUNY will be a man short here in the scrum.
Bastereau back on his feet, ready to go at the number 8 spot.
Yeah, I had to assume Ryan was going to come off at some point for Kirkland Hamilton, so perhaps that's just why they made that decision to keep him in there after that first scrum. So we'll see what they do once Ryan's yellow card is over. They'll bring somebody else on.
Skulk fight gets us going on the scrum. Heaton losing it. Excuse me, Deacon.
RUNY doing a good job of ticking these minutes off the yellow cards here with good possession. And that's going to be nicely dragged into touch by Xander van Skolkvijk, who's played well today. Came into the season as not part of the starting back three, but getting a chance today to prove himself on his home field and doing just that.
Mon, except for the line out. And it looks like we will have our hydration break now. As time pauses on Paddy Ryan. That's about 90 seconds remaining in that. And now we'll go down to Maria.
East Cobb Tavern was formerly known as Keegan's Public House in Roswell, Georgia. Make sure you head to East Cobb Tavern in Roswell to check out their new refurbishment and every away game to have fun with the Rugby ATL crew for the OTP viewing party. Now, just a reminder, Rugby ATL is at home next weekend, but in 2 weeks, you should head out to East Cobb Tavern. Now, one thing I do want to mention about Johan Momsen in the 53rd minute, who scored that try off the bench. As soon as he was put in off the bench, people were saying, bring the energy. He said he is their energy guy. He's the one that brings everything on the pitch, and that momentum shift could be good for Rugby ATL. Head coach Scott Lawrence is looking for more momentum shifts like that, hoping that Rugby ATL gets more things to fall their way. Johan Momsen keeping the energy, his teammates tell me.
Thanks, Maria. And he's been so key in the first 2 matches this season. Both starts for him. He has obviously tried to his name as well along with it. The Western Province Club Player of the Year in 2019 as well. And it's not so much what he does in the stat line, even though I just mentioned some stats of him. He's really an energy maker in that Utah match. Big hits, setting his team up for success around him. And a key in the lineup, and we were actually pretty surprised he wasn't a part of the starting 15 entering today.
Yeah, Scott Lawrence knows what he's doing. He's coached at high level for quite a while now, and he clearly thinks rotating these guys and keeping them fresh is going to be key. I mean, Momsen obviously knew he wasn't going to start today, but also knew that he was going to play a big impact finishing off the bench, and now he's got 37. He had 37 minutes since he came on. 33 minutes in this second half to give it all he's got.
Van Voot down the field, 19-14. RUNY leads it.
So it looks like Foden to the wing. I forgot to mention that earlier. Looks like Mark O'Keefe departed.
Down the right side comes Rugby ATL.
Yeah, Zandervan scope fight wasn't held there, so he was free to get back up. If you're not taking the ground and held, you're quite within your right to get back up without having to release the ball. That's what happened there. He kind of bounced off the tackle. Good forward progress here by ATL. They have penalty advantage as Bastero is going to put that advantage into play because not rolling away on the previous ruck.
Paddy Ryan, his time almost up to come back in. But we'll see if he is indeed subbed out.
Yeah, I think they'll leave Kirkland Hamilton in there. Perhaps bring Mike Brown, Anthony Parry on.
Coleman kicking it into touch.
Bring those two on in the next 10 minutes or so. Yeah, we're going to have the sub now. See who crosses the white line.
Will be multiple substitutions for RUNY. Wall Sims back on.
Yeah, it was Mike Petrie, the veteran Eagle scrum half, captained the team last year, now a finisher. He'll come in off the bench to replace Marcus Walsh. A decent 62 minutes. Did the 27-year-old Irishman on his old home field.
And we're set to go once again. Line out in favor of Rugby ATL. Well, 5 points out of that, 7 points out of that man advantage. Here comes Deacon. Quick movement to the left wing. Nell over to Coughlin. Favor of RUNY, and they'll kick it down the field.
It was a nice running line by Coughlin. They just never got two hands on it. Perhaps was looking up. It was a flat line. Looking up to see what was going on, so take the mark there.
Kick over the top, but no one really in the area for Rugby ATL.
I think to remember on free kicks, as soon as he approaches the mark, the other team can attack the ball, as you saw there. Didn't find touch, though.
Van Voot tries a line drive out of play, right back to RUNY. This one's going to be close, stays in play.
It was a good idea by Van Voot, but Bennett was in the perfect position to claim the low kick, was looking for the corner.
Marsh.
Not the best kick there by Cahill Marsh.
Two skips into the arms of Coleman. Better look here for his kick. This one stays in play.
Maybe this time Wallace Sims will find the touchline. Team up 5. Every minute, every second could count here.
And RUNY's not complaining about those last 2 minutes of action, kicking back and forth. They're up by 5. 16 minutes left as finally the ball does go into touch.
Yeah, not the best kick there. And after all those kicks, Rugby ATL win the territorial battle for sure. We have a line out here after a substitution.
And it will be Talapusi in. It was a strong kicker in the preseason match against NOLA on this very field.
Interesting substitution. Kurt Coleman comes off, as well as Austin White, as he makes way for the exciting Harley Wheeler.
Ferrante also on, up front. As Wengluski comes off.
Kurt Coleman went the distance in the first 2 matches for Rugby ATL, but not today. See if Martini Talapusi can get this comeback on track.
Samoan, his 3rd appearance off the bench this season.
was impressive in that preseason game we did, Chris. There goes Duncan Van Schalkwyk.
The interception there on the run. Talapoosi.
Playing a little 9. Just like Van Schalkwyk can play both 9 and 10.
Nell. Talapoosi. Cutting free. A few more meters there. Over to Mompson. He's running ahead. Nearly 5 meters out.
Mompson trains a tough one to stop. Lovely break by Talapoosi and a lovely pass to, but we're going to have a holding on, not for the first time today. RUNY are winning some of these ruck battles, getting players over the ball in a good poaching position.
All that momentum goes to the wayside now as there's a great offload to Mompson.
Ben Foden some credit there. He stood his ground. As a fullback, you never want to see a big second row come, or second row / flanker coming charging at you 10 meters in front of your post, but he slowed him down enough to get the support back to help him. And RUNY get away with that one. Don't allow any points. Still up 5 here with 14 minutes to go.
That kick way out of play as it will stay with the Roosters. Will be a line out. Fawcett coming over.
Talapoosi's not quite as nimble as Kurt Coleman, but he's certainly a darn sight bigger than Cahill Marsh. And we're going to have to keep an eye on that straight line running from Talapoosi. We should see those fly halves running the crash ball, but Talapoosi's big enough to do it. You saw Nell also coming into play, a bit of 10 in that last possession. Good ball here by RUNY, though, taking seconds off the clock. Bastereau at the back. Yeah, and coming in from the side there was Mompson. Yeah, Mompson in from the side. It was clear and obvious right in front of the referee, not the place to do that.
Atlanta had all the momentum, scored a try. While the Simbin was in action. And now RUNY really making it a stalemate, slowing the match down. They have a 5-point lead entering about 13 minutes remaining.
Ben Foden with the kicking from the hand duties now. We saw him practicing them before the game. So RUNY taking their time to get to this line out too. It's a sloppy one.
Picked up by Dam as Rugby ATL. Back in possession, they'll keep it.
I thought that was almost a good poaching attempt there, but referee saying he had his hands past the ball. Used to be an old trick that the players would get away with, come in and get your hands past the ball. And as the contact comes in, you just scoop the ball back with you, but not allowed to do it anymore. You've got to make a clean attempt to play that ball.
That kick into touch as Mon take the opportunity on the set piece.
So these RUNY locks are probably going to have to go the distance.
Missed opportunity coming up is Deacon, but he can't get it. Bastereau.
Yeah, Ross Deacon was sort of caught in two minds there, whether to try and pick it up and potentially knock it on or put a foot on it, and he did neither in the end. And he'll come away with it.
Line drive kick. Out of play.
Yeah, Cahill Marsh is going to play a key role here in these last 19 minutes. He knows he's got some tired legs around him. Kicks like that are going to help the cause. Here's one of those tired legs, the left leg of Matthew Bastereau.
That'd be a key loss, obviously. Just 12 minutes remaining. He's going to give it a go, it seems.
Bastereau went an hour in the first game. Only 49 minutes in the second game. So this is the furthest he's gone so far, the legendary Frenchman.
Mon. Momsen, Talapusi, Van Voot, Talapusi will kick it down the field. Wallace Sims spinning there.
And he's looking for the hands in the ruck. Don't want to kick too many balls to Wallace Sims. He's got some serious sevens background and serious speed. He'll certainly take that penalty and a few more seconds tick away. Look at Mike Petrie. 57 caps for the Eagles. Just the kind of veteran leadership you want in a one-score game like this with 10 minutes to go.
They'll kick it into touch, and really against Utah in week 1, against NOLA in week 2, Rugby ATL coming alive in these final 10 minutes of action. They will need to get rid of this deficit by 5 points. RUNY scoring 3 tries after that initial Rugby ATL one. Atlanta responding after the yellow card to Patty Ryan. And now we're at this 5-point deficit for quite a while, and that's how RUNY likes it here on the road. Trying to get the 4 points on the table.
Yeah, since that Momsen try, ATL's spent most of that time in their own half. Good steal there. I think Momsen might have got away with a knock-on on the jump, but either way, I was going to say Atlanta with some possession, but they kicked it away. Here's that man I was just talking about.
Wallace Sims diving in and out there of the tackles. Marsh over the top. Is this the opportunity for RUNY? No, it's brought down by Nell, the captain of Rugby ATL. Poor position, but he saves the try.
Yep, did well there, did Nell. Went down on it. The key thing you young players have to do, get down on that ball. That stops the advancing players from being able to dive down on you. If they do, it's a penalty. And Nell got up and got the reinforcements back there to help him out, and a nice clearance in the end by ATL. It was a lovely teasing kick by Cahill Marsh.
And Talapusi gets them out of their own end with that kick, as it will be Fawcett coming on for the line out. Another maul here for RUNY as they push ahead. Fawcett.
Of course it's Fawcett. Who else would it be? Running the show here at the back of the maul. Yeah, that one's pulled out. So free play here basically for RUNY. Marsh is going to go wide. No, he's not. He's going to come back though.
And Rugby ATL with an easy try there would have been the second of the day for Xander. But instead, this comes back over to the right wing.
Very kickable penalty position here. As you can see now, pulling down the maul. Yeah, Marsh knew he had the free play. Xander was waiting on it, but all for naught. We'll see if Bennett or Marsh take a go at these 3 points and put, it will be Marsh to try and put RUNY up a converted try. We talked to Chris coming into this one, whether it would be the ATL defense or the RUNY offense, and it's more been the RUNY defense that's really stepped up today. Only 14 points allowed, came in, allowing a ton of points in those first 2 games. 34 to the Free Jacks and then 31 to Austin, but only 14 today allowed by the boys in orange and navy.
And it was towards the end of the first half where they had all that momentum. They used it, putting up 3 consecutive tries to end out the first half. And now Marsh looking to put the icing on the cake. This would be his first conversion if he does make it.
Yeah, they obviously had the missed one earlier from Bennett. This will be the first one they've made. Yeah, and it will put him up a converted try. Well, we've had 1 tie game already this weekend, Chris. Rugby ATL, a converted try. We only get them to 21-all if they do manage to find the score here in the last 6 minutes.
And this is the situation where you look at the scoreline and say, hey, if we kicked here or there on a penalty, it'll make a difference. And this is why really Scott Lawrence and his side do go after the penalty so much. And that was what happened against Nolan. They won that in the end, obviously.
My addition needs some work, Chris. Up 8 now. So yeah, 8, it puts Rugby ATL behind 2 scores.
You mentioned it at the end. I knew you would figure it.
I'm a words guy, not a numbers guy, Chris.
That's a
you
huge
can see the energy
kick.
is taken out of the crowd as well. This crowd was bringing superb energy earlier in this game, especially when that Momsen try went over. But that penalty's taken a lot of the steam out of this crowd. ATL will have to react quickly. That's not the way to do it. A little flat there to Keys. That could be a maul held up. No, they're saying he's down.
Talapusi offloads it. Coughlin cutting free.
No support though, except for Van Voot.
Out to Talapusi. He's running now. Offloads it, tipped away and out. Xander Van Skalkvik couldn't complete it. The pass a bit too high.
Well, we said they had to react quickly, and what a run by Coughlin. That's exactly what ATL needed, and the last pass was just left a little lacking from Talapusi. He did what he had to do. Took 3 people with him. A risky left-handed pass, and it was always going to be a little difficult for Xander Van Skalkvik to bring down, but that would have certainly brought the crowd back into it if that one had gone over the try line. As you see Julian Montez coming in for these last 5 minutes or so.
It's Hewitt that's down on the knee, but he gets back up. And it will be Gleason coming off for Rugby ATL. Juju Montez coming on, the Tulsa, Oklahoma native.
You have to think Rugby ATL is going to put the pressure on here at this line out. Get Momsen up there. All right, Momsen's going to take the step back. It'll be Willemser or Keys then. Looks like Keys will be the jumper. RUNY's going to go short, which is risky. If you do overthrow it, you don't have the numbers behind you to make up for it. It'll have to be a good throw here by Fawcett. He goes short. Probably the safest play in the book. If you are going to go short, is Xander Van Skalkvik with the counter ruck. RUNY now is going to try and take some time off this clock. Keep it short and tight. And we're going to kick it away.
Here's the kick. Back towards midfield. Van Voot will scoop this up. Last hope here for Rugby ATL. They need to score twice, really.
Good run there from Montez, but you don't expect a prop to make a line break too often. There's a good tackle there by Bastereau to get this ball wide.
Nell took a big hit on the back end of that after he passed it off.
Yeah, he's down in some serious pain. Referee is playing advantage as Talapusi tries a little chip. We're going to come back here for the penalty. I think perhaps you take the 3 points, although Moran's staying to go to the corner. That's a little further back than I initially thought it was. We're going to have perhaps a no wrap on the tackle on now. If we can get another look at that, perhaps. Yeah, he's in some serious hip pain, perhaps. As Talapusi kicks down towards the 22. Not the best of kicks, especially when you're down 8 points.
Ryan Nell has been so key today, captain out of Cape Town.
ATL going to maul it from a long way out. Maybe try and find some tired legs. Is looking for the take down the maul, and again another call for collapsing the maul. It's the 3rd one today, and Skalkvik's going to go quick.
Bohemsa. Met by Bastereau. Coughlin helping out. Van Skalkvik, the fake and a big hit he takes. Hamilton coming in there. Now Coughlin.
He was looking for the snipe around the corner, but Hamilton was having none of it. Big time tackle there from the substitute.
Keys. Trying the left wing, not much there. Keep in mind as well, Rugby ATL, if they do lose, they do get a bonus point if they're within 7 points or less.
Yeah, good point, Chris. Oh, Van Skalkvik with the fanciness.
Here's Wheeler, stuck in the traffic.
It's going to be held up, though. The referee hasn't made a signal yet. They stopped once and they're going to keep going with it, but that's going to be tough to pull the ball out of there. Yeah, it's going to be an unsuccessful end to the maul, and that might do it. Yeah, you're wondering if that Alex Moore may have been better off going for those 3 points to get that losing bonus point. I understood why he went for touch, but you know, this Eastern Conference is going to be so tight when it comes down to the end of the season. Every point can matter. And that should be it for RUNY. They're going to take home the 4.
As the clock ticks on, they could take their time here. One last scrum, RUNY's hoping, away from a big leap in the table. We're not able to get to 4 tries today, but certainly they'll take the 4 points.
Oh, wow. It's a free kick, though, so no attempt at goal. We'll have to go try and get it over the line here to get this bonus point. Obviously, the result was out of reach.
Montez, Van Skolkvijk, now Coughlin, getting a few meters here. Talapusi, Wilhelmse, Van Skolkvijk, Talapusi.
Yeah, Van Skolkvijk telegraphed that one. There was 3. It could be a knock on. No, it's going to be a loose ball. Still ATL's.
Wilhelmse. Keys inching ahead.
Oh, man.
Still moving. Rugby ATL holding on to hope.
Yeah, unfortunately, even if they do score, the game will be over. So just trying for the bonus point here. Oh,
Xander Van Skolkvijk, now Coughlin.
Referees looked like he was signaling a knock on. It's a bit of a mess out there at the moment. ATL just a few inches short. You're going to have a penalty. Now what do you do here, Chris? I think you take the 3 points if you're smart, but we don't have the leadership of Kurt coming on there. And Xander Van Skolkvijk trying to get the last try, the late try. Not sure if that was the right decision, really.
Wilhelmse, he goes down. Knocked away, stays with Duncan Van Skolkvijk, weaving his way forward. Not far enough, though.
Great defense by RUNY. Throwing their bodies at everything here.
Montez. Van Skolkvijk outside, and they're in. Xander Van Skolkvijk gets his 2nd try of the day. Won't be enough to get the victory, but maybe a key point towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I thought their decision-making might have come back to haunt them there, but Xander Van Skolkvijk makes amends and gets his 2nd try of the day and the losing bonus point.
Van Skolkvijk's combining to at least get something out of the day. Come back just short on the board, but Xander Van Skolkvijk getting 2 tries to his name. Just left unmarked down the right wing.
It'll be interesting to see if that point comes back to make an impact in the final standings when we get to the end of this 16-game campaign. But nice appearance today for Xander Van Skolkvijk, making his 1st start of the season. He's impressed out there, giving Scott Lawrence some food for thought on the wings with Harley Davidson and Harley Wheeler. Likely still clearly his number 1 and 2, but obviously now has some faith in Xander.
Talapusi is first real kicking opportunity in a regular season match. It's up and off the upright, no good on that. And nonetheless, Rugby United New York will take it 22-19. And a big victory on the road for a 2019 playoff team here jumping up the Eastern Conference table. We'll be right back here in Marietta, Georgia to wrap things up. A loss for Rugby ATL. They do get the point, though, at the end of the day in the table. But RUNY climbing up the Eastern Conference standings. We'll be back with more here from Lupo Family Field. Welcome back here into Marietta, Georgia. RUNY 22-19 over Rugby ATL. Stewart's national title and escrow services contribute to an enjoyable buying or selling experience. Doesn't matter whether you're a home buyer, home seller, lender, broker, or real estate agent. They never stop working to make real estate services an enjoyable experience and to back every title insurance policy with leading underwriting expertise. Stewart Title, official player, ambassador, sponsor of Rugby ATL. And recapping the match, Maria is alongside head coach Scott Lawrence.
Coach, first loss of the season, what can you take away from this one?
Plenty of lessons. There's really no losses, just lessons.
Heading into this one, you said that RUNY would give you a lot of aha moments. Did you feel that throughout the match today?
I thought we could have brought more intensity to the game today. I thought we came out a bit flat and just carried that into the second half. When we did some substitution in the second half, Ross Deacon, Martini Talapusi really brought some energy into the game.
Some of the guys that made their Major League Rugby debuts today, Coughlin being one of those, were you impressed with the way that they were able to come out and debut?
I think Sean played fantastic today. He was aggressive. He went forward. He made all of his tackles 100%, most of them dominant. So I thought he did real well today.
Next week, you are going to be playing the team that is atop of the Eastern Conference. How much pressure does that put on you guys, and how big of a test do you think that'll be next week?
Well, it'll be a big test. They're a very good side. They've been together for a long time. They play very fast, and they're an exciting group. So there is no weeks there isn't any pressure. There's always pressure, but this was good for us. We needed to lose today. We didn't deserve to win, and we'll take a lot out of it.
All right, Coach, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Maria, and she mentioned it right there with Coach Scott Lawrence. Big matchup coming up on Sunday, March 1st. We'll be back with you, WATL coverage, along with ESPN Plus, as they'll take on the Toronto Arrows, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Leaders by 3 points at the top of the Eastern Conference as it currently stands. Big win for Rugby United New York, taking this one 22-19 over Rugby ATL. They do get a point out of it in the overall table, though, to tie with NOLA. I'd like to thank our entire crew. And alongside me, Ross Davenport on the sideline, Maria Martin, member of the 11 Alive sports reporting team. This has been a presentation of Rugby ATL and Major League Rugby. Close to a comeback, but just could not get there in time. Rugby ATL fall 3 points short, but they face Toronto next week. Another chance to prove themselves here in the early MLR season. We'll see you next time here from Marietta, Georgia.